This podcast is brought to you in part by Academy Travel at MickeyVacations.com. Academy Travel is the official travel sponsor of the Pirates and Princesses podcast, and we can't recommend them enough. Go to MickeyVacations.com/PNP. That's MickeyVacations.com/PNP to get started on your next Disney dream vacation today. And now on with the show. We've been to Toy Story Land, and we're going to talk about it on this episode of Pirates and Princesses. Please stick around.
Oh, hello there. So glad you could come along.
I put a spell on you.
Grid is live. Initiate light cycle battle.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
For a safe trip, remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the cabin. Be sure to watch your children, and no smoking, please.
Welcome to the Pirates and Princesses podcast.
We're a different kind of Disney podcast. We do it our way.
We talk about Disney parks, Disney movies, TV, video games.
Anything Disney.
I'm your host, Thom Pratt.
And I'm your other host, Kam Pratt.
Welcome back to Pirates and Princesses. As always, I'm your host, Thom Pratt, and I'm joined by my lovely wife, Kam Pratt.
Hello, that's me. Today. Every day.
Every day.
I guess it's every day. Good.
And I'm going to talk about Toy Story Land. I've been to...
You keep saying we. I'm like, I was not there. The kids were not there. It was you. You have been. There is no we here.
Okay, I was to Toy Story Land over the weekend. We were actually invited down for Disney's preview event, media preview event through the Kingdom Insider.
Right.
So myself and I got to go inside Toy Story Land 2 days early, which was actually
way better than going in the day of.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that after we talk about Toy Story Land itself. But yes, opening day was very, very busy. It was very busy. I did go back opening day, but I wasn't able to actually see or enjoy anything because it was
we'll talk about
crowded.
what you saw first, then we'll talk about opening day.
Yeah, so Toy Story...
Start at the beginning. That's a good place to start.
Toy Story Land, I went in for the media preview event, which was the Thursday before the opening. It was the 28th. And they had a lot of media types there, travel agents.
The agents didn't come until later.
Yeah, they came in later. I went in early afternoon, and the place was pretty much empty, which was kind of crazy because I knew it was never going to be that empty again. So I got as many pictures as I could, but yeah, you could. They had the rides running, and you could basically just go in and ride the rides as many times as you wanted to.
It was a little smart to go in a little bit later too, because then
it cleared out.
The media was gone.
Yeah.
It was hot.
It was very hot.
But the media was gone,
hot.
so it wasn't so crowded.
But yeah, I had pretty much had the place to myself, which was crazy. So Toy Story Land itself is cute. I'm just trying to...
Cute. You're like, cute. It's cute.
It's cute. It's mostly coaster. It's like 2/3 coaster, Slinky Dog Dash. Then they have the Alien Swirling Saucers, and they did the new entrance for Toy Story Mania. It's not a big land at all. I mean, not that the Toy Story lands, I guess they aren't, throughout the world, but this one especially felt pretty small, I think, because the coaster track takes up most of the room.
Well, small, in comparison to Pandora. How is it smaller in Pandora? Same size as Pandora? Because I don't think Pandora is very big.
It seems smaller than Pandora.
Wow, that's really small. Because I think Pandora is small.
It's basically just a straight path, a straight walkway through.
It's a stopping way on the way to Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, that's what I think it's basically going to be. And
for now, because there's rumors they might add on to it.
It's nice. It's cute. It's cute. It's not a huge project on the level of Pandora or Galaxy's Edge. And eventually, within a year or so, I think after Star Wars opens, it probably the traffic is not really going to be there either.
You can get flight of passage, fast pass now.
Yeah, our friends Lance and Lauren, I met up with them down there, and they were telling me that even on the 4th of July, you can get Flight of Passage Fast Passes now because everybody wants Slinky Dog Dash coaster passes. Spoiler, Flight of Passage is a much better ride than the Slinky Dog Dash, but everybody, with the thing with Disney is whenever something, opens that's new, everybody wants to check it out, obviously. So, the theming is good. It's I guess I'd describe it as like, it's lightly themed. I mean, it's not like Pandora where like everything, you can tell it was like painstaking detail just to, I mean, there are some nice details.
I like the popsicle stick benches.
Yeah, the popsicle stick benches were very, very cute. I didn't see those anywhere else, and it was cool to see them. They've got army men all over the place, lots of different toys, lots of different, classic toys, things you wouldn't really expect, and some things that were just really kind of weird, like they had cooties, the game Cooties, they had them outside the bathroom, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a message you want to send when you go to the bathroom, like here's where the cooties are, But no, it was pretty cool. Woody's lunchbox was kind of cool. It actually looked like the metal lunchbox you open, and it had like the embossing on the inside of the lid and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And from like Woody's Roundup, which was pretty cool. I mean, there are there's definitely attention to detail. Most of the detail I found was actually in the queue for the Slinky Dog Dash, because it was basically like all the instruction manuals and all the parts that came with this Slinky coaster. And you go through and you see so much, like even like down to the barcode and the copyright date on the back of some of the boxes, the giant boxes. It was really neat. So if you go through Slinky Dog Dash queue, definitely take some time to look at some of the stuff. And I think they know people are going to be waiting.
If you go through the Slinky Dog Dash queue, you're definitely going to take some time.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say you're going to be waiting a couple hours to get into Slinky Dog Dash at this point.
It was like 4 hours and stuff the other day, wasn't it?
It was, it was like
just
3
to get
or 4
into
hours.
the park. It was like 3 or 4 hours, and then another day.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. I'm trying to think.
Let's talk about you did aliens, swirling saucers.
Yes, I did that a couple times actually, which was fun. I didn't expect, because the big attraction obviously is Slinky Dog Dash, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we have alien swirling saucers too. Which was kind of a whip ride. It's I guess it's based on the Mater's attraction from Disneyland, from Disney California Adventure. Same thing, except it's enclosed. Now, what I liked about it, because I could actually hear things because there was nobody on it. I think I literally was the only person riding that ride.
I think you were
at the time.
You might be one other person.
One other person. Cast members were hopping on every once in a while just to take a ride. But as you're waiting for the ride to start and you listen, being a classic video game fan, I heard all kinds of like retro video game noises, because it's supposed to be in an arcade. It's supposed to be in like the Pizza Planet arcade. So I heard like Atari 2600 Pac-Man sounds.
Oh my gosh, you mentioned that when you were doing the video. You should have said something.
I didn't pick it up until later. I think.
I wonder if it'll show up on the HD video you did.
It might on the HD one. It might. Yeah.
You might have been the only one there on the HD video. He took a couple rides on it. One was for live stream, and one was to do some HD video. He did a lot of HD video, which you're going to put up on the Kingdom Insiders YouTube. So
it was, but it was pretty cool because I heard, I definitely heard the Pac-Man. That from the 2600 Pac-Man, the very much maligned 2600 version of Pac-Man, and it sounded like there were some Tron sounds in there too. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what there was, but they tried to create that like ambiance being like a retro arcade, like Pizza Planet would have had, the old arcade, which is pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. And with that, like Buzz talks. So they had Tim Allen there because Buzz Lightyear's statue talks as you walk by him. I don't know if it's motion detector or what, but he has a whole bunch of different phrases.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I know Jesse talked on.
Jesse talks too. The only one that doesn't talk is Woody, and I'm thinking it's because they can't afford Tom Hanks, right now. So we'll see. So Aliens Swirling Saucers is pretty cool. And I guess I'll talk about Slinky Dog Dash because that's what everybody wants to talk about. You
can talk about the new entry to Midway too, but go ahead.
I'll talk about the new entry to Midway and some other things that were kind of weird about it. But so Slinky Dog Dash is a coaster because now Disney's solution for everything is put a coaster on it.
Well, no, their
Make it a
solution to
coaster.
everything is IP, but
Yeah.
But Tom doesn't like coasters.
I'm not a big fan of coasters. No, I actually, like, I can ride just about anything, but coasters, like, I get sick to my stomach on coasters. I do. Like, everybody's like, oh, I love that butterfly feeling. For me, it's like hornets. Like hornets. I mean, I will tolerate them, but I'm not. It's actually
to a point. I think that's past the point of what you tolerate.
What, even Slinky Dog?
Yeah.
Well, Slinky was. I will tell you, it's.
You keep calling it a kiddie coaster, but it's not really.
It's not a kid. It's not a kiddie coaster, which is really weird. This is one of the weird. And I was talking with someone else there about this. That another cast member who thought was an odd choice to have, Slinky Dog be this intense because you have to be 38 inches to ride it. I mean, this is not like, Barnstormer or anything like that. I mean, it's definitely a notch or two above Mine Train in terms of intensity. And a lot of that comes from just the way that they twist the track and stuff. You're not, like I have no problem whatsoever on Thunder Mountain, but there are a couple of drops on Slinky Dog. That's kind of like, what the frick, because they launch you. I mean, there are 2 launches in the coaster. The first launch actually takes you to the biggest drop in the whole ride. So you start out like right off going down, and the drop actually banks you, twist inward, and then go around Jessie, and then Jessie goes like yeehaw, as you're going around, which is kind of neat because I don't know if again like she's motion censored or what, but every time Slinky Dog goes by, Jessie has some kind of a comment, and they're different comments because I actually stood there for a while and watched it go, which I thought was pretty cool. But with all the people there, you're not gonna be able to hear a lot of it. But then you get to the second launch, and that's where it gets really kind of like gut turning because there's so much airtime on this ride. Like you are out of your seat, which reminds me of there's this little coaster they used to have in Knoebels Grove.
They got rid of it.
They did. Well, it was nasty. It was the high-speed thrill coaster, which was supposed to be a kiddie coaster. It was a small coaster. It was like gas-powered.
Did you get on that with Tristan once?
I used to ride all the time when I was a kid. I had no problem with it when I was a kid. I used to ride all the time. That thing, like, they gave you this tiny little lap bar, and you were literally at your seat most of the time because of those bunny hills. It was just like, boom,
we had
boom,
one.
boom, boom.
I used to go to Kennywood. It was the Jackrabbit. It was kind of the Jackrabbit where my dad literally was holding he was behind me in a car behind me, reaching forward and pulled me back into the seat because I almost fell out. That's kind of one of the reasons I didn't like roller coasters for a while. But now I love them, so it's all good. I'd ride it.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I would ride it again. It's just, it caught me off guard how...
You would.
No, I would.
They took a picture, and just his face when he's
I
done.
looked bemused. I was like, oh,
no,
God.
You didn't look bemused. Our son looked and he goes, that's the face of defeat. And it really was.
I don't. It's so weird. Like,
I love you, but you everybody else is like, yeah, well, there you are. Oh my God, it was so
It's
funny.
like I love Disney parks, but like I don't like roller coasters that much.
You really don't. That picture says it all. I mean, all these pictures, they probably not gonna use your picture in promotion. Everybody else is like, their hands are in the air, they're smiling, they're like, yeah, we.
Oh no, they actually had on a couple of they had two vehicles running and 2 trains running, and they had a camera mounted in what would have been the front seats. Nobody was actually riding in the front seat on either of them. They had a big camera mount facing, so I think they were looking for like promotional, like, yeah, woo, and I was like, oh God.
They're not going to use your face in that.
No.
Because I mean, when did they take that picture?
That is when you're done. When your very first pull into at the very end, I think with Wheezy, I think they try to get your reaction. And I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out.
We'll talk about Wheezy then, too.
Yeah, they have a really really cool Wheezy animatronic at the very end of the ride, which is nice because that was one of the kind of the gripes I had about both of the attractions, is that neither one really had anything that was like, I guess I'd say like Disney caliber. Like I'm trying to be nice about it, but when you see all these like impressive animatronics and most of their attractions have all kinds of like really crazy cool theming and Slinky Dog is a cool coaster, but it's something that I kind of felt like you could have found at any other amusement park, really. I mean, it's but they did have the Wheezy animatronic at the end and stuff, which is cool, and the theming, and I mean the theming goes a long way, but I mean it is a kind of a basic outdoor coaster.
Well, let's talk about the Wheezy. That Wheezy was cool.
Wheezy was very cool, yeah. And actually, he because you're waiting to pull in, and you're there for probably a good 30 seconds, listening to Wheezy's singing "You've Got a Friend in Me," and he's very cool animatronic. And most people were like, yeah, they expected him to be in the queue or something, but he's at the end of the ride. So
yeah, so you can't see him unless you ride. So if
Yeah.
you're not a person that likes coasters, you don't get to see Wheezy.
no,
I'm sorry. I hate that song. I do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know people like it. I just don't like that song.
It's
it
very
annoys
overused.
me.
It's
it
very
just
overused.
annoys me. I'm just like, I mean, Let It Go is much preferable to You've Got a Friend in Me. I just don't like that song. I just don't. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It
So
annoys me.
So the new entrance for Midway Mania looks cool because it looks like a Punch Out set that Andy had, and he created the new the Midway set from. I think it fits the attraction much better than going into the office space of Pixar Place. I mean, I will go on record saying it works much better because it looks like the rest of the ride, because you go inside and there are all these toys and everything, and it really does work. Mr. Potato Head was there when I went in. He was insulting me. And
Is that at the end or at the beginning?
he's in the beginning. You
Oh,
go into
cool.
the queue. He's right there. He's like right as soon as you walk in. Like he's right there looking at you. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, there were no changes to the ride itself. Now, when Toy Story Mania lets out, now there's a pathway at the backside of the Pixar building that takes you right back out into Toy Story Land. So, they were now on the preview day. They were letting people in on the other side. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they're going to close that down completely and then just let everyone, because they've got 3 tracks now. But this entrance just seemed to go to the one.
I bet
track.
I don't know. I didn't check because we were so busy couldn't get down there.
No.
So, but I'm betting that they probably only have it coming to one side.
Well, yeah, because I mean that kind of takes you out of.
Right. I don't think I think
Toy
that was
Story,
just
I think, at that
temporarily.
point.
They were running that there, and then it was probably like real quick, like you move a wall around or something overnight, and then boom, you're into the correct way. But I don't know, because the day it opened was so crazy you couldn't have gotten down there to look anyway.
No, okay, so did the preview. The preview was cool. They had a little party for everybody. And
They had cool merchandise too.
They did have some very cool merchandise. So we picked up some Slinky Dog headbands and what else did we get? Ball caps and
the
light up
necklace,
aliens.
yeah.
Which,
The light up alien necklaces I really like.
yeah.
Now, the merchandise, they don't have a big store in the Toy Story Land area. It's out at where Sweet Spells was.
Yes.
They have kiosk type
Yeah.
things in the Toy Story Land area.
Yeah, they have trucks. They have like 2 they look like toy trucks, and that's what the merchandise is. And again, it just kind of like shows how small the land actually is. And it's not size-wise, it's not small. It's just that the coaster takes up so much room.
Right.
And
then one thing we all tell people too, you said about, is very hot there. You think Epcot World Showcase is hot? He said this is way worse.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of the negatives here, and then we'll talk about opening day. The downside is it's small. I mean, it's very small. And it does just seem like it's the coaster and a couple of extra things. That's basically what they're going for. And the one thing that really kind of threw me off, and this is very unusual for Disney, and I don't know if they're going to fix it. I hope they fix it as they're getting Hollywood Studios prepped for Star Wars and all that, is the entrance actually going into Toy Story Land sucks. It's you go in and you're going around the backside of the Pixar building or down that sideway, and you're thinking you're gonna walk in, and I thought like big giant Woody's gonna be right there, and it's like, wow, it's Toy Story Land. No, you actually walk past bare walls for a while. Woody's like way off in the distance.
I wonder if they did that because people could see over the wall and stuff, and they're trying to keep it hidden. I don't know.
But there's like zero theming. It's just blank walls and concrete, and you're walking for a while until you actually get into Toy Story Land.
Pandora was kind of like that too, though. You go by, and then you have to go past Tiffin's, and you still walk a little bit. I mean, the mountain's there, but it's
but they still had the vegetation, and I mean, this is like just bare concrete walls.
I mean, you have to walk a little ways to start hitting that over for Pandora too. You do, when you think about it. But you said it was hot.
It's very hot. It's
it's hot, like it's hot.
No, it's like, I mean, it's basically just a concrete slab. There are a couple of little umbrellas over by Woody's, but there is like no shade. There's no shade in Toy Story Land. And that is that's a huge drawback, especially if you've got, families over there with kids. And, I would say just, fast pass your Slinky Dog ride and get the heck out, because you're going to bake. I mean, we're talking like, I know World Showcase gets hot, but this is worse than, because there's no place to duck into. There's no place in Toy Story Land to duck into to get air conditioning. Nothing has air conditioning. Woody's is a walk-up window.
Yeah.
And, so they don't even have a restaurant to go into. There's no store. A lot of people duck into the store to get cooled off. There's no store. Swirling saucers, there's no air conditioning there. It's outside. The coaster's outside. The queue might be air conditioned. They might have fans blowing, but I don't remember it being. But I was through it so fast because
because you were right on.
So yeah, it's that is a huge for me, especially in a land that's geared toward small children, to have it be that hot.
Yeah.
And my advice would be either go early in the morning or late at night. And at night, it's worth going to because the lighting is pretty amazing. It looks really cool at night. But yeah, it's just really freaking hot.
Well, let's really quick talk about opening day then, and the cupcake, the messy cupcake, and
the messy cupcake opening day. Okay, so opening day, yeah, I walked in on Thursday. I thought, well, I'll go back on Saturday. We'll go in early in the morning at Rope Drop. We'll get there and we'll do some more, live streaming for the Kingdom Insider. And I woke up a little bit before 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had a text message from our friend Lance, who's like, "Hey, yeah, we're already over here. It was open at like 5:30." So they opened it. They actually planned to open it early that day.
They didn't tell anybody.
No, they didn't tell anybody.
Because everybody would have showed up then.
Yeah, so they actually opened Hollywood Studios at like 5:30 that morning. And I guess they opened Toy Story Land at 7 o'clock. Now, I got over there about 7. And I was staying at Coronado Springs, which is pretty close. So I got over there at 7, and I get in, and it was already, there were a good number of people there, but it wasn't.
There was long lines already,
Yeah, they already had long lines for the rides. I knew Thursday, I'm like, I'm not going to ride after this, so I, did what I wanted to do. And then we left to go get a pin.
Well, first of all, it was so busy. They were saying they were only going to let people in until it hit capacity in that area, and let people in only as people left.
Yeah.
And it was already crazy busy when you were there filming. The lines were insane.
And that was just like 7:30 maybe,
yeah.
7:30.
And then, Lance even said, they said if you had a fast pass, you can get back in,
yeah.
But there was no guarantee you get back in for a long time later, and you still left.
Well, I left because, again, this is the problem with the merchandise not being in the land. Where are the pins at? Oh, you have to go to Sweet Spells to go get a pin. And at that point, they were already swarming the store. And I'm like, well, crap, if I want a pin, I better go get a pin. So I went and got the pin. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just walk back over to Toy Story Land, right? Nope. At that point, in the 20 minutes or whatever it took me to leave the land, go get the pin and come back, they were already at capacity. So they're like, well, we got a line forming to get back in. And the line was already to the Chinese Theater.
Actually, that's not too bad.
No. Well, it was to the Chinese Theater. And then it continued to wrap all the way around.
Right, at that point it was bad.
Through the Great Movie Ride, and then in and out. And within an hour, the line was actually down to Sci-Fi. So, and that's wrapping all the way around the Great Movie Ride queue, which, you know how it twists and turns.
They took them through the queue of that and then down.
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, like, ridiculous. And I overheard someone say that at that point, the wait time just to get into Toy Story Land was like 3 to 4 hours. Just to get in. Because they had to
wait for somebody else to leave for you to go in.
And people were waiting like, an hour or two in line to ride the rides. And then they, look around and then they leave. So there was no getting back into Toy Story Land. And then by 9 or 10 o'clock, just the sea of people pouring in the Hollywood studios. It's so weird because Hollywood, with everything being closed, like, it's just, you walk in there and there's like nobody there.
Well, there's people there. It's not as busy as like Pandora area.
So now, but then the other parks, I actually did some park hopping that day, and because of Toy Story Land, thank you, they weren't that busy.
Yeah, but prior to Toy Story Land, they were horrible.
That whole weekend was awful. I was in Magic Kingdom on Thursday before I went to Toy Story Land, and it was like a 9 or a 10. It was insane. I mean, they had the line for the People Mover.
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, we've seen lines for the People Mover. It used to be the People Mover just a couple of years ago. It was a walk-on.
And everybody keeps talking about how much I love People Mover, and I'm like, no one ever wrote it before. Anyway, the line was clear wrapped. I mean, it was like way past where it should be. Like, I mean, we're talking like way past the video you showed. It was way
I was
back.
trying to see where. I'm trying to think where it ended at. It was like it was like way down the thing through the windy queue. And I think it was over by Carousel of Progress. It like went clear over the Carousel of Progress.
I think it was over by where Buzz was, wasn't it?
Oh, over by
Where
the
actor or the costume is.
Yeah,
You know, it was
yeah.
over there.
It was crazy. There was a line for the Carousel of Progress, which you never see. It was insane, and the wait times were just astronomical. I mean, everything was like an hour plus wait time at Magic Kingdom.
That was nuts.
And I think people were in for Toy Story, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Well, let's go to Magic Kingdom." And yeah, it was pretty awful. But I mean, overall, my impressions of Toy Story Land are, I mean, it's cute. I wasn't completely like blown away, but I don't think this is the land they're trying to blow you away with. I think this is basically a nice little addition. Hollywood Studio, God knows Hollywood needs attractions because everything's closed. It's a nice addition, but really it's just an hors d'oeuvre before the main course, which is going to be Star Wars.
And they had that open that you could see the construction when you were there for the preview.
Yeah.
And I guess the night before it opened, they had a soft opening, and they had it open that you could see into Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Then by the morning of the actual opening, they had trees up and closed it off.
Yeah. When I was there, you could see into it. They had like a temporary fence, but you could still see all the
You
construction.
could see right into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the night after, the night of the 29th, Lance said it was still wide open, and then it was closed by the next morning.
Yeah, somebody had joked with the cast member, and I don't think this is official or anything, but somebody joked with the cast member. It's like, hey, that kind of ruins it. You know, right there you can see Galaxy's Edge. And the cast member's like, oh, that's just Andy's Star Wars playset. That's his Star Wars toys. So I don't know. I mean, for me, I mean, that's one thing I do want to see when they get Galaxy's Edge finished, is I would love for them to have like a couple of big giant Kenner action figures, old vintage Star Wars figures, like huge, just in front of the gateway, so it looks like it could have been
It kind of
Andy's
merges in.
Star Wars figures.
That would be fun. That would be really fun, actually.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, it's cute. It's definitely worth checking out. I would wait a couple months because you're not going to get into it in a timely fashion.
2 more questions real quick. How was the cupcake?
Yeah, I got Toy Story cupcake at ABC Commissary, and it tasted basically like every other chocolate cupcake you've ever had at Disney.
But it was very messy.
It was incredibly messy. It had blue, like Smurf blue icing, and there were actually gobs of the dye inside the icing. I had it, my fingers were stained blue, my lips were blue. It was blue.
So if you're a parent and you want to get that cupcake while it lasts, make sure you bring wipes, and your kids don't wear good clothes that day.
Yeah, yeah, wear dark clothes. But
now the question everybody wants to know, I'm sure they're all waiting to know this. How was the bathrooms?
They were actually cute.
Did you in the bathroom?
Yes, I did.
So you were there a while. You have to.
I drank a lot of water, so I had to pee at some point because it's so hot. The bathrooms have the cooties on them, and you go inside, and thankfully they were brand new, so they did not have cooties in them. But at least the men's bathroom, because I can't badge for the women's bathroom, but the men's bathroom had like a domino theme, and like the dividers between the urinals looked like dominoes.
Oh, that's cool. Hard to clean, but cool.
All the urinals were kiddie-sized urinals, like the short urinals. So I don't know if they're like, hey, you're all big kids, and I'm just thinking like there's going to be a lot of cooties in this place because people are going to miss.
They're saying it's not a kiddie land because the coaster's not kid friendly, but then they put kid toilets in the bathroom.
Yeah, the coaster, I mean, it's family friendly, but it's definitely, I mean, I'll just cap off with this because all anybody really cares about is the coaster. It was a lot. It's more intense than Mine Train. I actually think it's
a lot of things are more intense than Mine Train, babe.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like I expected a Mine Train coaster. It's more intense than Mine Train. I actually would say it's more intense than Thunder Mountain, just because some of those drops are.
Well, yeah, I definitely say that because you like Thunder Mountain, you don't like this.
Yeah, which it caught me off guard. I did not expect it to be that intense for a toy-looking coaster. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so. Oh yeah, Willie's Roundup. I didn't get to go because it was too busy. I did try the Pop-Tart at the media event, and it was fantastic. So I just had to get that in there.
All right.
So because people were wondering. So we're gonna log off for this podcast, and we'll have news again next week. It's just we had to talk about Toy Story because that was the big news.
All right. So we'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Pirates and Princesses is a production of Clownfish Studios. We are an unofficial Disney podcast, not endorsed or affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. You can visit us on the web at piratesandprincesses.net. That's piratesandprincesses.net. You can shoot us an email at piratespodcast@gmail.com. That's piratespodcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.